There is no way to sugarcoat this. If you risk extremely important but injury-prone players in a dead rubber game, it is naive management. As a result of that naivety, Chelsea are now without one of our most important and creative footballers for the foreseeable future. It will also have a detrimental impact on England's World Cup aspirations. Now look, for the record, I adore Graham Potter. I wholeheartedly back Graham Potter, but it would be disingenuous of me not to discuss this mistake. And it is clearly a mistake to not use the gift that is a dead rubber game in a condensed season when the fixtures are coming thick and fast is foolish. We had the opportunity to rotate. We had the opportunity to make the most of our squad. We had a fixture in Europe that actually meant nothing. That is an opportunity. You don't need to play tried and tested first team footballers, particularly those who are incredibly important and have a propensity to be injured. The game itself meant nothing. Nothing. We could potentially discuss Denis Zakaria's impressive debut or maybe the brilliance of the Dinamo Zagreb fans. But the game itself wasn't noteworthy. There really wasn't anything to discuss. And yet, one of our best players, a player who we are so reliant on, is now out. This is so annoying, so predictable, and also, crucially, so avoidable. And that is where Graham Potter has got this wrong. Chelsea are so reliant on our fullbacks. If Reece James is fit and playing well, and Ben Chilwell is fit and playing well, anything is possible. If you get those two flying down the wings, defending as they do, they are resolute, they are brilliant, and they both have a keen eye for a goal, Chelsea will invariably win the game. Everything good about Chelsea happens because of our elite level fullbacks. Preserve them, protect them, nurture them. Reece James is already out. Reece James is already in Dubai, having to try and rush himself back to fitness because of this weird condensed season that we are playing. There was no reason for Ben Chilwell to play yesterday. Combine it as well with this fact. Mark Cucurella's on the bench. We have a £60 million ready replacement to slot into that position in order to rotate and make the most of our squad. I just can't understand how we haven't got this right. The last thing Ben Chilwell needed to be doing last night was charging, sprinting down the wing in front of that West Stand. There is no reason for him to possibly be charging and putting his hamstrings to the test like that. And then bang, 94th minute, it goes. Even if you start him, why is he still on the pitch in the 94th minute? Endlessly sprinting backwards and forwards down that wing. It was so clear that there was potential. And look, from Potter's point of view, I do understand. We had a harrowing result against Brighton. We need to find form because we have a massive fixture this weekend, Sunday morning against Arsenal. And therefore, he wants to play his team, find rhythm, keep momentum, discover some form, and get players feeling on song again. I do understand it, but it was wrong. You must make use of your squad at all times in every single season. But this season is like no other. The Champions League is finished. It's November the 3rd. The Champions League group stages are finished. That doesn't usually finish until nearly Christmas. And they're finished. We've got Carabao Cup action starting next week. We've got World Cup. Rotate. Because what Chelsea were presented with yesterday was a gift that we didn't think were possible either when this group started. A gift of a fixture that means everything because it's a European Cup fixture in front of a full Stamford Bridge under the floodlights, but it means nothing. It's an opportunity. It is a present wrapped gloriously with a bow on top for Graham Potter. No pressure, no angst, nothing riding on it, literally no jeopardy. And yet there was virtually no rotation. How have we not learned from our mistakes? This was the 4th consecutive Champions League group game where a big injury has happened to a first-team contributor. Wesley Fofana, Reece James, Mateo Kovacic, all launched out of the Chelsea squad. Kovacic sort of coming back, but it's such a shame. Fofana, James is rushing, trying, and we knew that this was a possibility and we knew that this was coming. This condensed season is having a huge impact on fitness of footballers. Your players are dropping like flies, and it is genuinely a tragedy. I don't know if there is an answer to this, but I feel like the FA should potentially scrap at least one fixture before the World Cup, because we're playing this World Cup at a time when it shouldn't be played. We're playing a World Cup and having to sandwich and condense everything, make sure that these players play so many fixtures on the build-up to this World Cup. Two things are going to happen. Firstly, players are going to get injured, so we're not going to have the best players at the World Cup. And secondly, the players that do go are going to be knackered. So the spectacle and the statement of this World Cup won't be what people hope it will be. You know, we're milking and squeezing and sweating these footballers for everything that they're worth. And for what? For what? It's so out of order. Like I said, the Champions League usually finishes in December, the group stages, and it has finished already. 3rd of November. The League Cup starts, and Chelsea are playing Man City. This is the other thing. Every game, because of the way that this season is going, every game is massive. You know, in virtually every game, managers need to be picking their best players. And last night was different. And that is why it is so frustrating that we didn't rotate, particularly this position, particularly left back, with Mark Cucurella, who is in dire need of finding some form, by the way, sat there. It's a no-brainer, actually. And look, you know, the other injuries that I mentioned, Fofana, James, whatever, they're kind of neither here nor there, because they were picked up in a football match where it's part and parcel of the game. You know, getting injured against AC Milan in a must-win fixture, yeah, that kind of happens. But getting an injury in a game where you're trying to revive your Champions League status is very different to getting an injury in a dead rubber game at home. And therefore, it's foolish. I mean, overall, last night, Dennis Zakaria was probably the only genuinely new face that we saw. He was like the only real rotation that we saw was Dennis Zakaria. And when you think about the football that has been played by, say, Mason Mount has started 10 of Potter's 11 matches in charge in all competitions, playing the full 90 on every single occasion. Raheem Sterling made his 6th start in 7 games. Trevor Chalobah, his 8th start in 25 games. Even for Chilwell, this game was the 6th times he played virtually 90 minutes since October the 1st. 6 times since October the 1st. That's a month. In a month, he's played 6 times full 90 minutes. There needs to be some more intelligence here from Potter. He needs to rotate. He needs to preserve, protect, and nurture this squad, because we haven't got the depth. You know, you see Man City rotating, don't you? You saw what Manchester City did last night. They played that, what was his name? Rico Lewis, didn't they? A 17-year-old starting at home to Seville. Like, the difference between what Chelsea can do and City can do is a chasm, and I know that. And drawing parallels is slightly unjust on anybody involved with Chelsea, but I do think there is a point to be made there. Chelsea could have lost 20-0 and still progressed as we have. It wouldn't have mattered. But Ben Chilwell would be available for Arsenal. Just to play devil's advocate with this, I do understand where Graham Potter is coming from. He needs to find rhythm. He needs the team to get back to winning ways. He needs his first team footballers playing well, gelling, learning how to get the best out of one another. And I do understand it, because what happened against Brighton is a warning, particularly going to a side like Arsenal, who, yes, are capable of winning the league. But this is a mistake, and I feel like it could be so detrimental to everything that Chelsea are hoping to achieve. Chilwell and James out. We've seen this horror show before, haven't we? So it's a real shame. And also a catastrophe for England. So no, I'm gutted. I'm really gutted. And it just feels like this one hurts so much because, as I mentioned before, getting injured in a game that means everything is so different to getting injured in a game that literally means nothing. Really annoying, but I hope that Potter will learn from this, and moving forward will realise that rotation and making the most and maximising your squad is a key part of managing at an elite club. Thank you for watching this video. I do hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please do me a favour, give it a like, click subscribe, and let me know your thoughts. Have I been too harsh here? Or do you agree with me? Did Potter get it wrong? Cheers. Have a good day.